So from Investopedia, a bond is a fixed income instrument that represents a loan made by an investor to a borrower. So typically it's a corporate or a government bond. So what does that really mean? Bond just means that you're lending money to someone for interest. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about bonds, how to think about it, what are the different kind of ratings, and what kind of returns you can typically expect when it comes to investing in bonds. So first, let's start with rating. Now, when it comes to investing in bonds, there's AAA, which is the best rating, which means it's the safest. But then you get a little bit of less return. Then the next rating is AA, A, BBB, BB, and then B. And as you go down the rating, you get a little bit more return, but of course, a little bit higher risk as well. And when it comes to investing in bonds, risk means that the company or the corporation might go default, and you might not collect your money back. And when it comes to bonds interest rates, you're really looking at a typical government bond nowadays is around 1% to 2%. If you're looking at a more higher risk government, like for example, Greece, back in 2012, the interest rate was actually 35%, which was extremely high. And now, as of 2021, the Greece government bond rate is actually 0.92%, which is actually less than 1%. So you can see how that interest rate can fluctuate over a long period of time. Now, when you're looking at corporate bonds like Coca-Cola, Thomson Reuters, or other bonds in the market, you're typically looking at around 5 to 10% return, depending on how much risk you're taking. When I was researching the internet, I actually came across a rule called 100 minus your age. And this is the amount of percentage you should have in stocks and bonds evolving over time. So for example, let's say your age is 20, you would take 100 minus 20. So that means you should have 80% in stocks and 20% bonds. If you are age 50, then you should have 50% in stocks and 50% in bonds. And if your age is 80, then you would have 80% in bonds and 20% in stocks. When you're thinking about this rule of thumb, yes, it works to a certain degree when it comes to a simple portfolio allocation. The thing is, you should really ask yourself how much money you need per year to cover your expenses. Now, if you're below 50 years old, chances are you don't need any money at all to cover your expenses. So what's the point of getting a predictable interest that is paying out month after month or quarter after quarter and gets you taxed on it when you can just reinvest it into stocks for a capital gain? My philosophy when it comes to investing is that idle money should aim for a higher return, which means unless you're planning to withdraw money from your portfolio, you should leave it in there to compound and compound over time and avoid taxes as much as possible. And if you don't need the money immediately, then why don't you put it in a higher return assets? Now in this case, this usually means equity, which is the stock market. The strategy that you just saw, which is 100 minus your age, actually lowers your return for the final year, because when it comes to bonds, typically you'll get a return somewhere between 3 to 5% for the safer ones. If you're taking a little bit more risk, then it's around 5 to 10%, which can be similar to S&P 500, but it wouldn't be as high as S&P 500. If you are using this strategy, which is 100 minus your age in terms of your bond and stock portfolio allocation, and you didn't save up enough money, then you will feel like it is a stretch to retire as you become older. And you might even be forced to get a part-time job because the income you're getting from bonds is actually not enough. And a high allocation in bonds means that you probably need $1 million in your portfolio when you decide to retire. And if you started late in terms of savings and whatnot, then retirement might seem very difficult to you. When it comes to bonds, inflation is really working against you. So bonds are great when there is a low inflation environment, but when Fed is printing money, you are actually getting a lower return than what you promised in the bond because of higher inflation. Let me demonstrate what I mean. So you can imagine yourself lending $100 to a corporation and they promise you a 5% return. Now, of course, you know that inflation is around 3%, so you're really getting a 2% per year for the next 5 years. Now that sounds okay, it sounds predictable, but the return is low and you're aware of that. But what if halfway as you're investing in the bond, the Feds suddenly start printing more money? This is exactly what's happening in 2020 and 2021 right now, where Fed printed 20% of the money in the world in the last year or two. So that would actually lead to a higher inflation, which let's say it is 7% for this year. And that means if you're only getting a 5% interest from the bond and the inflation is 7%, then you're actually losing out 2%, and there's nothing you can do about it because the interest you earn on the bond is fixed, but inflation is controlled by Fed by how much money they're printing. But if you are investing in stocks, then the situation will be different. If Fed is printing more money, then equities and the real estate markets will continue to go up, and it will actually include inflation in the price, because at the end of the day, nobody really wants to sell at a loss. So equities and real estate and commodities will all go up along with inflation, and perhaps even more than inflation, which will put you at a more secure position over time. So the solution to that is really, until you need money, you always want to invest in higher return and faster growing assets, whether that is stock or real estate. And this means you should have your portfolio mostly in equities or real estate until you want to retire, whether that is 55, 60, or 65. And this allows your portfolio to grow at a much faster pace and also allow you to have an earlier retirement as well. That brings me back to my portfolio. Now, when it comes to investing, my target is to make 30% return a year. I'm relatively young when it comes to retirement, so that's why I focus 100% of my portfolio in terms of stocks, and I don't have any bonds at all. I don't want to be lowering my return at this stage, and I want it to compound and grow as quickly as possible. And in the near future, my plan is really to add real estate into this mix, which also has the equity component to it and also leverage as well. And if you are able to diversify between your stock portfolio and real estate, then I would say it is a pretty solid strategy when it comes to wealth building and also retirement. And if I need to give you a final tip in terms of the order of preference in terms of investing, my first preference is really stocks. And using my strategy, I know I can aim for 30% return. So stock is very liquid. So if I need money anytime, I know I can just click a button, sell it in the markets in the next Monday, and then I can take out the cash within the next 3 to 5 days. Now, the second preference is really real estate. And this is about rental properties with leverage, and this is where people focuses on cash flow. Now, of course, there is the tax problem where every time you get cash flow but you don't need it, you will get taxed on it, whereas you can hold on to real estate for multiple years, leave it in there, appreciate, and not get taxed on compounding the growth with leverage. In real estate, you get the best of both worlds, where you get the income source and also the leverage when it comes to the real estate property appreciating. But my preference would be stock, where that would be 100% appreciation and no income, because I don't need the income immediately. Now, the third preference I have is actually REITs, and that stands for Real Estate Investment Trust, and that is actually similar to investing in real estate, except you can invest in commercial properties like shopping malls, retail locations if you want. There are different types of REITs where you can either focus on residential or commercial, or you can just have an income stream, or you can have capital appreciation only as well. So that is obviously a very big topic, but I would say REITs is very similar to real estate with less control. And finally, the last but not least would be bonds. So unless I absolutely have to, I actually personally would not invest in bonds, because I think the return is too low. A 3, 4, 5% return in today's market, with all the inflation going on, with all the cryptocurrencies jumping up like crazy and the stock market going up like crazy, it doesn't really make sense to invest in bond, which means you're just lending your money to someone else so that they can invest in the stock market instead of yourself. So if you want to retire faster, grow your portfolio, and not lose against inflation, then you don't want to invest in bonds until you absolutely have to. So that's it for this episode of Investing Basics. And I just want to celebrate 3 successful case studies within Investing Accelerator, where Mike made 50% from Alta in 3.5 weeks. Dexter sold Marriott option for 75% profit in 6 months. And he also made 25% profit from Alta for 10 months and 75% profit on another position on Alta in 3 months, and finally 37% on 3M for 10 months as well. So that is fantastic, Dexter. The third case study, Annie also sold 1/3 of her ADP for 103% profit in 3 months. So that is her first 100% return from a single investment. So that is fantastic. Good job to you three. And for Investing Accelerator, this month I'm looking to help 20 people to master investing. So if you want to learn more, then just go to the first link in the description to watch the free case study. So I'll see you in the next episode.